What's the most disturbing secret you've discovered about someone close to you?
She was my best friend of 7 years. We had literally been through it all together. I moved out of state with my now husband, but she convinced us both to move back to be closer with her after about a year. We had no real ties to the state we had tried out, so we said, screw it, let's go back. She's basically family. We were all so happy to be reunited. She was over almost every night for dinner. We all laughed and talked and had a blast. Best year of my life. Then slowly, she started trying to turn my husband and I against each other. Anytime we had an argument, like any couple does, she would text each of us about how right we were, trying to foster animosity between the two of us. With me, she started talking about how she had a plan B for us, that if my husband and I couldn't make it work, I could move in with her and we'd live happy lives together. With my husband, she started talking about her infertility issues and how she wanted to have a kid just like him. She just needed a sperm donor. This all happened at around the same time, and my husband and I compared texts and figured it out. She wanted to take his sperm and have a baby with me. When confronted about it, she refused to admit anything and started lashing out at both of us. It got to the point where she would show up unannounced, banging on the door, demanding a place in our home. It was so terrifying and panic-inducing that we ended up having to move and change our phone numbers. I guess it's so disturbing because I had never had a friend like her, only to find out that she cared about me, but in such an unhealthy and scary way. But yeah, that's my story. Husband and I are great now, BTW.
I was pretty close with my youngest uncle growing up, at least in pictures. He was in his mid-20s when I was like 5 for context. One day when I was in middle school, he just stopped coming around completely. My entire family told us kids that he was backpacking around the nation. In high school, I was going a genealogy project on my grandfather, his dad, and accidentally found my uncle's name on the sex offender registry. Come to find out, he was running a CP ring and had served 16 years in federal prison. He's out now and my family pretends nothing happened. I stay far away. Commenter 1. Wait, when you say my family pretends nothing happened, do you mean that he's back at family gatherings and stuff after being released for CP? OP, he isn't allowed around children or firearms unsupervised, but yes, they talk to him every week and act like nothing happened. He was around all of us when my grandpa passed away. That's how my family operates. They insist he took the fall for his stepfather and didn't do anything wrong. After I found him on the registry, I confronted my mom and she told me his stepfather is the real bad guy and he didn't do anything. I made a Pacer account a few years ago to see his case information because something felt off, and that's how I found out he was leading a CP ring and creating CP. Commenter 1. My uncle was picked up for the same thing when I was 20. We had no idea. He kept it out of the family. Instead of pretending nothing happened now that he's out, we pretend he died. Forget that guy. I'm glad your family exiled him. I wish mine would get that memo.
A work colleague appeared on the front page of a national newspaper for a life of fraudulent qualifications. He claimed medical and law degrees, was a brigadier in the Army, Reserves, and was the CEO for a major Heath fund. He actually was a brigadier in the Army Reserves, but that and the Heath Fund role were largely built on the fraudulent qualifications and a progression of jobs also based on this claims. In reality, the only qualification he actually held was as a mortuary assistant. Not even his wife knew. The fraudulent degrees had been gained when he was in the Army Reserves recruiting, and he had access to submitted position applications. He came undone when he applied for a government job, and some flags were raised by the recruitment people. He tried to withdraw the application, but didn't realize that an application for a government role has the same weight as a statutory declaration and cannot be withdrawn. It all went south very quickly and he ended up doing jail time.
When I was 17, I dated someone who told me when he was drunk that not only would he probably hit me one day and just wanted me to be prepared, but he also used to grape his little brother. Every now and then I remember that moment and it just floors me how dangerous that kid was.
What the duck? That went from horrible to ducking terrible pretty quickly.
One of my best friends was caught trying to meet up with a 13-year-old and was filmed and uploaded to YouTube.
When my grandfather passed away, we discovered that he did not exist. His name was not in any government registry. He was a normal citizen, paid taxes, had a license and everything. Lived a long life, married to my grandmother for over 50 years, had multiple children, everything normal. Still to now, no one knows who he really was and why he had a false name.